Hey guys, it's JP at Justus Prep. This is day 9 of our ACT math practice, and we're gonna get started right now. Question number 1, the average of 3 numbers is x. If the first number is y and the second number is z, what is the third number? Well, we know with averages, it's 3 numbers divided by the number of terms, or here that would be 3 numbers divided by 3 would have to equal x. So let's take those numbers, which is y, z, and then that third number, let's just make it a different variable, a. So these 3 numbers divided by 3 is to give us x. And they're asking what the third number is. So all we have to do is isolate this variable. So the first thing we'll do is multiply by 3. And then we can just put y and z on the other side by subtracting. So we get a equals 3x minus y minus z. So then if we look here, it's not this one, it's not that one, it is this one, and it's not that one, and it's not that one either. The answer is B. Question number 2, if 2 cowboys leave a ranch at 9 a.m., how far apart will they be at 11 a.m. if one travels directly north at 20 miles per hour and the other travels directly west at 15 miles per hour? So let's first draw out some arrows. So one person is going north at 20 miles per hour. The other person is going west at 15 miles per hour. And they're traveling for 2 hours because they start at 9 a.m. and they end at 11 a.m. So we can imagine a person going 20 miles here in the first hour. This person goes 15 miles in the first hour. And then in another hour, this person gets to 40. And in another hour, this person gets to 30. So this person has traveled 40 miles. This person has traveled 30. What is the distance between the two? We can draw this right triangle, and I'll redraw it here. This is 40, 30, and we want the hypotenuse. Well, if you know your Pythagorean triples, you know that this is a 3, 4, 5 Pythagorean triple. So this is really 30, 40, 50. So the answer here is 50. But what we could have done before we had gotten this, and let's say we had different numbers here, maybe this was 41 and this is 31, then it wouldn't be a Pythagorean triple. But what we could do is guesstimate what this would be. I mean, we can do Pythagorean theorem, 31 squared plus 41 squared equals hypotenuse squared, and then calculate that. But we can approximate before we do that. And the hypotenuse here is going to be a little bit longer than the longer of the two sides. So it's going to be somewhere around 50, maybe somewhere in between 50 and 60. So we'd give it some reasonable range and look at the answer choices. And if you look here, it can't be these two because these two are too small. It can't be this one because it's too big. So you really only have 2 answer choices that are reasonable. 50, remember our range was 50 to 60 if the numbers were 31 and 41, and 70. But if you think about 70 would have to be almost 2 times as big as the 40 right here. And so then you'd be looking at a triangle like that. So that wouldn't be the answer either. This would be the most reasonable answer choice. So a number around 50. Question number 3, which of the following is not a rational number? Well, in order to do this problem, we need to know what rational means. And a rational number is anything that can be written as a fraction. So obviously all integers, all whole numbers are rational, and then any fractions and a lot of decimals are rational because those decimals can be written as fractions. So if we look at these answer choices, we see first, let's take a look at these two. That's just 2, which is 2 over 1, so that's rational. That's not the answer. This is 1/3, which is also a fraction, rational. Here we have a repeating decimal. And with repeating decimals, you know that that's a decimal that has been converted from a fraction and it has a repeating decimal, like 1/3 is 0.333, so 0.3 repeating. Same thing here, so this is going to be rational. It's going to be some sort of fraction. That's not the answer. And then here we have a decimal that doesn't have a repeating digit. And so what we can do with a decimal like this is we can make it into a mixed number. So this is really 1 and that over 100,000. And then we can make this into an improper fraction, which then would be a fraction. So this is not the answer either. That would be rational. If we look at root 3, and we plug that into a calculator, you'll see that it's some number that has a bunch of decimals at the end of it. And none of them are repeating, it's random, and it keeps going, which is why it can't be reduced to, or it can't be converted into a fraction, and thus it is not rational. Usually irrational numbers are square roots. So we have things like, root 2, that's irrational, root 7, irrational, pi is irrational. So usually roots of numbers that are not perfect squares. So that's a perfect square. These are all perfect squares. We're going to give you irrational numbers. So the answer here is A. All right, that is it for today. I hope that was helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. I'm JP, this is Justus Prep, and I will see you guys in the next video.